This is the Mills pocket, blind pocket, soffit pocket. The wiring is on this right side, and that is a typical bracket that holds the blind from the ceiling of the soffit. There's no way to get a bracket on the back of the soffit or the front. Maybe on the side of the soffit if there was something that could be screwed to the side and the bracket would and the blind would slide into it. But certainly not the back or the front. This is a temporary rig up of the Mills blind. Notice that the wiring in the pocket is on the right hand side of the pocket, but I had to hold the blind with the wiring in the back on the left side because of the way that the slats tilt. They tilt inward on the way down and outward on the way up. If I were not to have reversed this unit, this blind unit as I did, it would tilt the wrong way when it's traveling up and down as the other ones. Here is a test with the Mills blinds, the new blind in a temporary position hanging there from the trim, and the old blinds. I'm going to start them going down now. You may notice that the other two existing ones are faster than the new one because it's a new motor and it's wound at a different rate. Notice the new ones are near their bottom, and now they have hit the bottom, and the new one is still has to keep going until it hits the imaginary bottom since it's hanging out. Okay, now all three are at the same elevation at the bottom. I will start them back up. Notice the tilt of the blinds when I hit it up. They're going in unison. And again, the existing blinds are passing the new blind because the new blind's winding is at a different rate. The old blinds are now in their pocket all the way up, and the new blind is still going. Now it is at the same elevation. This is the Mills bracket. This part here, I'll call this the frame holding the bracket, and this is the motor inside. This is the bracket that used to hold the old ones on the ceiling. It would have been in this position, assuming this is the front, and this part would have been screwed to the ceiling. Okay, so it would have been like this, and when you push the frame up into it, it would go like this, and then you would turn this to lock it in place. Like that. It would have locked it into place. Notice how I have bent. See if we can see that here. It's hard with one hand. These little tabs here, right here, I've bent them out and away from the flat plate, away from the ceiling, in order to try to accommodate this big metal rod that's in here. But I couldn't bend it far enough. It will not hook in there. This is the open position. That would be the closed position. I try to get it in. Very hard to do with one hand. But notice that it hits the metal rod inside the motor before it can get down far enough to clip in. It just won't work. Okay, so the next option would be the bracket that
was shipped to me with this. This is the bracket. I believe that this is intended to mount on the sidewall, if I can open it with one hand. Okay. I believe it would be intended to mount on the sidewall like that, and you lift this up and slide the blind frame into it in this direction. Well, obviously we can't do that because we already saw how the pocket is. So suppose I mounted it this way, so it was hanging down, and you push the blind up into it and then close the bracket. Well, let's look at that. This does not fit on the bracket this way. It will not go. The frame of the blind will not slide into this. It doesn't fit. I don't know if it was ever supposed to, but when this was fabricated, we have these two rivets here. I assume that this was custom. Don't know. But the bracket it will not slide into the bracket in that direction. No way.